When Neha and Amit sat on the couch in my office during a couples therapy session, Neha said, "I feel so lonely in my marriage, like I did growing up. I don't think my parents cared much about me. They were either fighting or threatening to leave. Now, when Amit fights with me, I feel scared that he will leave me. But it's very hard for me to give him space when I need reassurance." Neha was repeating her childhood patterns in her marriage. When I bring this up in therapy, most people don't believe that their parents' relationship with each other and with them affects them. Namaskar parents, I'm Dr. Meghna, the therapist mommy. I'm a clinical psychologist and a couples therapist. And today I'll discuss 4 ways our childhood and how we were raised impacts our couple relationships. And some questions you can ask yourself to uncover this for yourself. What we observe of our families growing up significantly shapes us. Here are 4 ways our childhood impacts our couple relationship. 1. Our communication patterns. Every family communicates differently. In some families, conflict is dealt with in low voices and quiet nods. In others, conflict might involve a lot of yelling and hollering at each other. Or in a particularly dysfunctional choice, conflict isn't acknowledged at all. We all develop our unique communication styles, but that doesn't mean we are not significantly influenced by our family's patterns. These differences in communication inevitably come out in our couple relationships. Amit's family tended to holler at each other when they disagreed with each other. After their loud conversation, everyone would move on and get along fine. But Amit's partner, Neha, comes from a family in which yelling was seen as unloving. Suddenly, when Amit gets angry and yells, Neha thinks it's the worst thing he could do. Meanwhile, Amit is just trying to express himself. This difference results in a communication breakdown. Pro tip: the sooner you can identify your communication patterns, the sooner you can acknowledge them to your partner. Then together, you can establish communication norms for your relationship. Second, our beliefs and our values. We are significantly influenced by the adults who raised us when it comes to our beliefs and values. In fact, many of us can immediately name a recurring value that our parents taught us growing up. Even as we grow and develop our own values, we carry these childhood beliefs with us into our adult relationships. My parents instilled in me a deep emphasis on self-discipline. Not only does self-discipline define my life, but I saw it as a standard by which to determine others as well. So when my partner wasn't always the most self-disciplined, I judged him for it. It took many conversations for me to realize that self-discipline was not the most important value, but rather something that I was raised to believe was more important than others. It's difficult to break away from the beliefs and values of our childhood. When it comes to relationships, it helps to be aware that our partner might have different values. Pro tip: identify your values and have your partner identify theirs. Then together build a list of common values that are important to both of you and that both of you want to prioritize in your relationship and further on with your children. Third, our signs of affection. If we were fortunate to grow up around loving relationships, we spent many hours observing how those relationships functioned. In particular, we noticed how our parents displayed signs of affection. We inevitably adopted these signs of affection as typical. Then we brought them into our own adult relationships without even questioning them. There are many different ways to show affection. For some people, an act of love might be to be overly helpful and generous, always asking, "What can I get you? What can I do for you?" But for others, it might be the complete opposite. Love might be shown through self-sufficiency. I want to be self-sufficient so I don't have to be a burden. As a result, partners might not feel affection because they are showing it in different ways. Pro tip: it always helps to get on the same page. Tell your partner clearly the ways in which you like to give and receive affection. I like it when we sit at the end of the day and cuddle on the couch. Or on busy school mornings, I feel seen and loved when you fix kids' uniform and get them ready. Fourth, our mindset on money. In our childhood, we develop a mindset on money based on the quality of life that we have or aspire to have. Beyond the need for food and shelter, which is really basic, There really is no universal standard for how to spend your money. Some people have no problem spending thousands of rupees on clothes or even eating out, while there are other people who can wear the same sweater for 7 years. These differing opinions come up in our relationships. Especially as two people begin to merge their lives, they will need to question their mindset of money. Pro tip: learn each other's financial goals by writing a letter to each other, outlining your financial plans. The letter can touch on your financial past, including, how your family handled money and whether you think you were raised with good financial habits. This gives you insight into each other's money mindset, right? After you do this, after you write a letter, discuss the present and future issues, like how much of your salaries would you spend, how much would you save, from your salary, how would you make investment decisions. Discuss how wealthy you hope to be and what you would sacrifice to get there. Of course, there are many other ways our childhood impacts our family and our couple relationships. And to uncover those ways, untangle your childhood and positively influence your couple relationship, you can think about these 3 questions. 1. How did your family communicate? How were the disagreements handled? How would you now like to deal with conflicts with your partner? Second, what example did your family set? And what do you want to take from it? For example, was eating one meal together a priority? Was spending time together as a family given importance? Third, what coping strategies did you develop in childhood? Which of these coping strategies are in sync with your partner and which aren't? Is your childhood affecting your couple relationship? Consider these questions and post a comment below. This is the Therapist Mommy signing off.